Lesson 27, use algebraic expressions to solve word problems. Okay, so again, writing algebraic expressions, you're taking written or verbal problems and you're translating them into math expressions. So when you're looking at a word problem, one thing you want to do is look for keywords to tell you what kind of operation it is, because you might know what the variable is in the numbers, but if you don't know the operation, then how are you going to solve it? So if you look down here, here's a couple of keywords to show you what you're doing in a problem. So for example, if you see add or total or sum, it's telling you it's an addition problem. If you see decrease, fewer, difference, these are subtraction problems. If you see multiply, twice, product, these are multiplication problems. And if you see divide, distribute, equal parts, these are all division problems. So again, looking at your word problems, find out what your constants are, what your numbers are, what are your variables, and then look for your keywords to tell you what kind of problem, what kind of operation you're going to use to solve this problem. So let's look at our first example. It says Louis worked 3 hours less than 4 times the number of hours that Carlos worked. Write algebraic expression represents the number of hours that Louis worked. Use H to represent the number of hours Carlos worked. So there we go. So H is our variable. All right, that's what letter we're going to use. Now let's go look at our keywords. We have Louis worked 3 hours less. That's telling us subtraction. Then 4 times the number of hours. So that's telling us multiplication. So we'll start with this part. It says 4 times the number of hours. Well, we have 4 times, and it already said that H is going to represent number of hours. So if it says 4 times the number of hours, that would be 4H, 4 times the number of hours. And it says Luis worked 3 less than, 3 hours less than 4. So after I take that 4 times H, I'm going to subtract 3, which gives me my answer, 4H minus 3. Let's look at another problem. It says Luis worked 3 hours less than 4 times the number of hours that Carlos worked. If the combined hours worked by Carlos and Luis totaled 72, how many hours did Luis work? Use H to represent, there we go again, use H to represent the number of hours Carlos worked. All right, so H is telling us how many hours Carlos worked. Now our key here words are 3 hours less, again, it's telling us subtraction, 4 times, okay? But the second part, look what it says here. If the combined hours worked by Carlos and Luis totaled 72. So combined is telling us addition, all right, and totaled is telling us what it's equal to. So ready? H represents, we got Carlos and Luis's hours together. So remember, H tells us the number of hours Carlos worked. So we're going to say H here is for the number of hours Carlos worked. Now, again, we're combining that Luis, and Luis is 4 times the number of Carlos worked. So that's 4H minus the 3 because he worked 3 less than 4 times. So boom, and it told us this time, it said it totaled 72. So again, H is the number of hours Carlos worked, and 4H minus 3 is the number of hours that Luis worked. So I'm going to combine those together. So H plus 4H minus 3. So again, now I'm just going to solve for my H. Ready? So I'm going to get rid of this 3 on both sides. All right, so plus 3 on one side, plus 3 on the other side gives me H plus 4H equals 75 now. All right, and then H plus 4H is 5. So H plus 4H gives me 5H equals 75. And I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So that tells me that Carlos worked 15 hours because H equals 15. So then I take my 72, because that's the total, my 72, and I'm going to subtract 15 because that's Carlos. So what does that leave me? Luis worked 57 hours. And one last problem. It says Maria spent $875 at the auto repair shop for 4 new tires and an alignment. So we got 4 new tires and alignment. If the alignment cost $95, what was the cost of 1 tire? here we go, use T to represent the cost of one tire. All right, so they got 4 tires. So 4T, 4 tires, plus the alignment. And it told us the alignment was $95. So 4T plus 95 equals $875. That was the total. So we've got 4T. Sorry, this is very unclear. All right, let me write that again. Sorry. So we've got 4T, okay, plus 95. All right, 4T plus 95 equals 875. That was the total she spent on 4 tires, 4T plus 95, the alignment. So what are you going to do? Now we're just going to solve. So I'm going to subtract 95 from both sides. I'm going to subtract 95 from both sides. So it leaves me with 4T equals 780. So 4 tires equals 780. So then I'm just going to divide both sides by 4. 4T equals 780. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And that leaves me with 1 tire. 1 tire equals $195.